Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Nude Investor Portfolio Update. Today is October 17th and what a couple of weeks it has been. I personally actually got married last weekend, so things have been a little crazy, hence the lack of posts. But anyway, I'm back to it now. So, what has happened in the last couple of weeks? You can see Alexium here, one of my old favorites. It actually broke this short-term rising trend line. It looks like there's been a fair few games being played with this, with the upcoming New York Stock Exchange listing. Basically, they've come out with a bunch of pretty spectacular announcements that haven't really seen a lot of buying. As you can see here, it looks like there's a lot of selling, although not on huge volume. But I'm not too sure what's going on there, but one of my short-term trade that I entered a couple of weeks ago up around the dollar mark is underwater, but I've got my stop losses in place which have not been hit yet. So things are still looking okay for the short term at least. I'm expecting to see either a solid bounce coming into the listing, which we don't actually know what the date is, as they can't tell us. All I know is that Alexium CEO Nick Clark has said filings has commenced, and basically he's going to update us whenever he can. There's kind of a blackout period for information there, so it's just wait and see at the moment. I'm seeing a lot of positive announcements which aren't being reflected in the share price, so it's hard for me to know whether I'm just being ultra bullish and not seeing the possible downside, but I can see this multiples of current levels within the next 12 months. So and I'm as confident as I've been in any stock about Alexium still, so I'm still holding tight. In the short term, we may see some more pain. It may end up wanting to come back and retest this breakout zone here. Who knows? I don't really know. I'm having a bit of trouble reading the technicals on AJX, but the fundamentals are solid as a rock. So, and they honestly get better every week. Every week or every couple of weeks we get an announcement which seems to just bolster my belief. So unless everything I've heard has been a total scam, this is going to be multiples of its current levels within 12 to 18 months. So I'm holding tight at the moment. Azure Minerals. This has been the star performer in my portfolio for the better part of a couple of weeks, almost a month now, going from strength to strength. This week they just announced that they have significantly extended the mineralized extent of their recent discovery at Mesa del Plata in Mexico. It almost looks like they're likely to double the area of likely mineralization, which means they're going to have a really nice little silver deposit, very high grade silver deposit, up to over 1,000 grams per ton through some intersections at surface, right next to the US of A, about 50 miles from USA. So looking very good. I've spoken to a number of people with significant industry experience, and they seem to be tentatively bullish on Azure at the moment. So still a long way to go, still a risky play, but as far as small cap explorers go, Azure is one of the better ones at the moment. It's not overly cheap at current levels given what they have, but if this turns out to be a real find, which is looking highly likely, this has a high chance of getting to production and actually making investors some money. So I've decided to hold the majority of what I've got long term. It actually broke out of its little trading pattern here on Friday. As you can see with this candle, there's a little bit of selling here. You can see with this sort of upper wick on the candle here. It may hang around this area. I think anywhere around, if you can get in at 3.8 cents, that would be very nice, and I might look up to top up if it goes back down there. So I'm going to be holding Azure and looking to add on any significant pullback. Just on that Azure update, you can see here this yellow outline shows their initial find with those 4 boreholes. I've got 4 boreholes through here. Those numbers you can see there are rock chip sample grades, parts per million or grams per ton. This I don't know if you can see the cursor, but this area up to the northeast is the new sampling, which has confirmed this extension of this mineralized unit, which is a silicious vuggy breccia type lithology, and it's highly likely with these kind of numbers up here that we will see a similar result from drilling up here. So they are readying to drill up here at the moment, and that is quite a substantial area, and they've recorded thicknesses of up to 70 meters of mineralization from surface. Probably average is somewhere between 20 and 30, 40-ish meters. So there's potential for a lot of mineralization there. Chapmans Limited, I got on about 0.8 of a cent. It's been performing reasonably well over the last couple of weeks. It looks to me like it's churning. It's had a long retrace from its previous glory, so there's a lot of shares to work through, as you can see by the volume down here. So at the moment it looks like it's churning away. You can actually see this quite a lot better on the weekly. If I switch out to the weekly here, you can see this absolute explosion of volume, which through these early stages here, was a substantial holder selling out, as I mentioned in my last update. You can see by this rising twigs money flow that someone is buying a lot of those shares. There's been a lot of offloading, we'll give them that, but there's also a lot of buying, as shown clearly here down on twigs money flow. Now this divergence between price, which has been pretty much flat for a long time, and money flow is one of the strongest indicators I have that someone is buying and a move is imminent. So I am watching Chapmans very closely, and I'm expecting a move within the next month or two, and it could be quite explosive when it goes. So watch this space. Platypus Minerals. Well, words cannot describe my disappointment with this one. I knew that I was taking an absolute dabble, I should say gamble really, because that's exactly what it was. I knew they had no money. I took a dabble anyway. What I didn't expect was the company to announce that they were going to raise at basically 0.45 of a cent. Now you can see this gap down here. That was the result of that announcement. I've never in my history on the trading on the ASX have ever seen a company raise at what is essentially greater than 50% discount to the volume weighted average of the last 15 days. So that really ruined it for me. Luckily I only took a tiny position, as I knew it was a gamble, but that really did not go down well. BrainChip, I know it's a stock a lot of you guys follow. In all honesty, I'm not going to spend much time talking about it, as there's not a lot to really report. It's consolidating its recent move since listing. Nothing crazy going on here. If anything, no one's really playing with it. I think we're all waiting for milestone 2 to be announced as complete, which is basically a real life hardware proof of concept. So producing an actual physical brain chip and testing it and making sure it works. So until that happens, I see it drifting along, and I anticipate quite a move when that is announced, especially if it comes with news of partners, substantial partners. You know, there's a lot of chatter of things like, you know, Google and Samsung and all existing smartphone makers, that type of thing. A big name like that would send this stock parabolic, but until then, just going to trade sideways, I do believe. Again, much like BrainChip, here we have Panorama Synergy, or PSY, very much in the same situation as BrainChip, consolidating a recent breakout, waiting news on partners and the first sort of deal where they are going to announce a partner basically, or someone who's going to trial their MEMS sensor technology. So until we hear news about that, it's probably going to consolidate this little breakout. I've got stop loss in around this 1.75, 1.8 cent level, so hopefully it can stay above that in the short term. LWP Technologies, again, another one that has just been soaking. I'm still bullish on this, guys. Again, I've got a relatively a nice entry down here at about half a cent, so I'm not too worried. I've got this long term. I think this is a very nice long term play, but it continues to soak away. they've announced the completion of the propant test factory. So they are currently making a batch of propant at their pilot plant as we speak. So the next stage is going to be testing of that material that they make from there, independently tested. So those results, we have been told, are due before the end of the year. So upon confirmation that the mass-produced pilot plant propants to spec, I expect to see this run, as they've already got some deals in place in India, and I've been told there is significant interest in LWP. So we're starting to see a little bit of an uptick in the money flow here, which suggests some buying, as you can see by these closes in the upper half of the trading range, albeit 1 pip. But yeah, I'm expecting to see a move sometime soon. It's consolidated well through this 0.7 to sort of 1 cent level, so it's built a nice strong base for the next move. Finally, OzQuest. I almost forgot to talk about OzQuest. Again, they have not been up to much at all, as you can see by the basically no volume down here. But I am currently becoming more and more bullish towards the resource sector. I'm actually currently writing a post where I'm going to talk about that, which will be my next post that I post on the Nude Investor. But I think that OzQuest is hands down the best value for money explorer on the ASX at the moment. It's got so many irons in the fire. It's got it's still kind of got gold in Burkina Faso, although they didn't come up with much in the recent drilling. They've got ground in the Fraser Range, right next door to the Sirius Resources Nova Bollinger discovery. They've also got significant ground in Peru, in areas that are highly prospective for porphyry, copper, and other types of base metals, and they've managed to get some really nice joint ventures, so they're not having to spend much to unlock the potential of those deposits. They're actually starting their first drilling in Peru, so I'm expecting big things in the next 12 months from OzQuest, so watch this space. That's it for this week. I'm going to leave you with a little picture of my new hometown here in San Diego, USA. Nice little spot where I managed to catch a few waves to watch the sunset. So thanks for tuning in again, and come back and check us out whenever I post my next post. I'll see you guys soon.